The ancient battle with the longest odds. 168 Spanish soldiers vs 80,000 Inca warriors. In the annals of history, there exists a confrontation that defies all logic, a clash between two worlds, each bearing the weight of its destiny. On the fateful day of November 16, 1532, a mere 168 Spanish soldiers stood resolute in the face of an inconceivable challenge, an army of 80,000 battle-hardened Inca warriors. The odds were staggering, the stakes monumental. In the heart of South America, at the town of Cajara, the stage was set for an ancient battle that would echo through the corridors of time. How could such a small force dare to challenge an empire of 80,000? The clash of empires was inevitable, and the outcome would reshape the course of history. This is the story of the ancient battle with the longest odds, the Battle of Cajara. On the 16th of November in 1532, a modest group of less than 200 Spanish soldiers found themselves face to face with an army of 880,000 battle-hardened, spirited, and confident Inca warriors. In just a few hours, the Inca forces were completely defeated on the battlefield, with potentially up to 7,000 of their soldiers killed and many more injured. This encounter played a crucial role in the Spanish conquest of South America. The once sophisticated and advanced Inca Empire, which had once stretched across most of the west coast of the continent, was utterly destroyed and never rose again, ultimately losing its last strongholds by 1572. How could such a small force conquer an empire of 80,000? The clash of empires was inevitable. The journey to colonize. What is now South America, known as Cajara in the past, began over 10,000 years ago. The initial settlers came from the west, traveling from places like the Bering Straits, Alaska, and Siberia. By the early 16th century, when the Spanish started exploring the New World, and several advanced civilizations, including the Aztecs and the Incas, had already been established and were flourishing. In 1492, Christopher Columbus embarked on the first of his 4 voyages across the Atlantic. While he didn't discover a route to Asia, he unveiled the New World. Following Columbus' revelations, other explorers set sail, fueled by the promise of treasure and glory. In 1510, Vasco de Balboa founded Santa Maria in present-day Panama, venturing westward overland. De Balboa discovered the Pacific Ocean and claimed the coastline for Spain. Subsequent expeditions moved further, entering Aztec territories to the north and Inca domains to the south in Peru. These journeys were filled with challenges, unpredictable weather, hostile indigenous groups, and inconsistent food supplies led to numerous setbacks. Nevertheless, the allure of gold and silver from civilizations, often seen as primitive, kept the explorers determined. Francisco Pizarro and the Inca Empire. One such explorer was Francisco Pizarro, born in 1475. He initially ventured to the New World in 1502, arriving in Haiti, then known as Hispaniola. Pizarro then led several more expeditions, including guiding 300 settlers to Colombia in 1508. However, by 1510, he found himself returning to Colombia to rescue the remaining 100 survivors. At this point, stories of immense riches from the fall of the Aztec Empire began to inspire many adventurers, and Pizarro was no exception. Serving as the mayor of Panama for a period, he amassed considerable wealth. This wealth enabled him to finance his expeditions along the South Pacific coast. His first expedition in 1524 was unsuccessful, but he managed to reach Colombia. A subsequent attempt in 1526 took him to Peru, where he discovered the Inca Empire and its treasures. In 1530, with the endorsement of King Charles V of Spain, Pizarro prepared for another exploration. Awaiting Pizarro was the Inca Empire, emerging from the Peruvian highlands in the 13th century. By the late 1520s, its dominion extended down the western coast into present-day Chile, governing millions of people. Boasting an extensive administrative system and road network, the Incas were master stone workers, creating precise and grand structures. They also crafted intricate textiles and garments. Gold and silver were abundant in their society, and they excelled in irrigation and agriculture, marking them as a prosperous and advanced civilization. However, like many empires, the Incas faced internal strife. As Pizarro contemplated his next venture south, the Incan Empire was recovering from a brutal civil war. This conflict arose among the sons of the deceased Sapa Inca, the empire's ruler. Atahualpa had recently triumphed over his brother Huascar and taken his life. Now, as the reigning Sapa Inca, Atahualpa was consolidating his forces, amassing an army of 880,000 men near the town of Cajera. Forces of technology versus size. In the early months of 1531, Pizarro commenced his forthcoming expedition, accompanied by his siblings. His contingent wielded steel blades, protective gear, and firearms, which included compact cannons and arquebuses, early muskets carried on the shoulders. The assembly comprised approximately 170 soldiers, including 30 to 40 cavalrymen armed with 4 cannons. Atahualpa was made aware of their approach and permitted them to proceed. As they delved into Inca territory, though he had heard of the Spanish, he might have received inaccurate or incomplete information about them. Given his sizable army of 880,000, it's conceivable that he did not perceive the Spanish as a formidable threat, and he probably lacked awareness of their advanced weaponry and gear. In contrast, Inca warriors wielded bronze weaponry, wooden spears, and clubs. Their best attempted armor was thick, quilted fabric, placing them at a significant technological disadvantage. Additionally, they were unfamiliar with cavalry tactics and the utilization of horses in warfare. Pizarro's daring move. Initial contact between Pizarro and Atahualpa occurred through envoys and messengers. Following exchanged pleasantries, an agreement was reached that Pizarro would await Atahualpa's arrival in Cajera for a discussion. As the Spanish approached the town, the sight of Atahualpa's extensive tented army encampment struck them. It was a simultaneously frightening and awe-inspiring spectacle, likely causing even Pizarro to hesitate. However, his choices were constrained. Retreating would signal weakness and invite aggression. Upon reaching Cajera, the Spanish established guards, and few probably found repose that night. On November 16th, communication persisted between the two parties, and the Inca army descended into position on the plain outside Cajera. Considering the town's usual population of around 2,000, most of whom had evacuated, it was impractical to expect the entire army to fit within its limits. Instead, Atahualpa would enter with only a few thousand of his attendants. Pizarro expediently but cunningly prepared for Atahualpa's visit. He was plotting a surprise assault. The town square, surrounded by substantial stone edifices, contained a central structure where the leaders were to convene. Pizarro discreetly stationed his men, some concealed within the structures, with cavalry lurking in alleyways and cannons trained on the square. The signal for the attack was set as the word Santiago, with Atahualpa as the primary target of the Battle of Cajera. The clash known as the Battle of Cajera unfolded as the grand Incan procession arrived at the plaza, escorting Atahualpa on an ornate litter. The Incas appeared unsuspecting, while Spanish soldiers, concealed and gripped by anxiety, were said to relieve tension by urinating in their armor. A Catholic priest approached Atahualpa, initiating a sequence of events marked by confusion and disputes, likely exacerbated by language barriers. Accounts suggest that Pizarro may have proposed Atahualpa's conversion to the Catholic Church and allegiance to the Spanish king. Amidst the chaos, a sacred Bible might have been cast to the ground by Atahualpa, triggering Pizarro and his hand-picked men to assault the litter. Spanish cavalry charged forth, trumpets blared, and cannons disoriented the Incas with thunderous blasts. A fierce struggle ensued around the litter, resulting in the severing of limbs of Atahualpa's attendants. Pizarro seized Atahualpa, yanking him from the collapsing litter, while a soldier attempted to stab him. Pizarro intervened, sustaining a cut to his hand. In the ensuing mayhem, the Spanish mercilessly engaged the unarmed courtiers, who sought escape in panic, demolishing a wall in their frantic flight. Soldiers pouring out of the town inflicted chaos, leaving the larger awaiting Incan army bewildered and unresponsive. The once formidable force of 80,000 succumbed to panic, transforming from an army of resistance to one of surrender, ransom, and eventual conquest in Cahara. Despite Pizarro's attempts to placate the infuriated Atahualpa, the Inca ruler's destiny was sealed. Surviving the initial turmoil, Atahualpa retained some official roles, but was subjected to Pizarro's demand for a ransom. The famous room filled with gold satisfied this demand, yet Atahualpa's value diminished. Pizarro orchestrated a mock trial, concocting charges that led to Atahualpa's execution. To add insult to injury, Pizarro claimed Atahualpa's wife as his mistress. Cahara, whether battle, planned massacre, or diplomatic encounter gone awry, epitomized the tragic turn of events. Pizarro's motives became evident, although few Inca records endure, a common consequence of imperial obliteration. The Spanish conquest, driven by a relentless pursuit of wealth, conquest, and prestige, swiftly overpowered the Aztecs and Incas. The Spanish possessed superior tactics, weaponry, and armor, capitalizing on Atahualpa's miscalculation despite his vast entourage. Cahara marked a pivotal moment, shifting the balance of power, abruptly in favor of the expansionist Europeans over indigenous populations. The remnants of the Inca Empire persisted until the 1570s, succumbing to the overwhelming force of Spanish military dominance. For those eager to unravel ancient mysteries, subscribe now to embark on a captivating journey into the enigmatic and inspiring puzzles of ancient times. Feel free to leave a comment suggesting any ancient mysteries you wish us to explore in upcoming videos.